to talk a little bit about carpal tunnel syndrome. We know now that carpal tunnel syndrome can be an early and fairly reliable marker for amyloidosis. In 2009, I was diagnosed with bilateral idiopathic carpal tunnel syndrome, and I had multiple surgeries done, twice on my right hand for carpal tunnel release and once on my left. And in all three instances, I was back to the doctors a few months later complaining that I didn't think the surgery worked, and I was having numbness and pain once again. One of my doctors wrote it off to my age. He thought maybe I was developing arthritis. He told me to take Tylenol and sent me on my way. If doctors could test tissue taken during carpal tunnel release surgery rather than just toss it in the can, they can discover very early on the presence of amyloidosis. And amyloidosis in the carpal tunnel area can precede other organ involvement by up to 10 years. So we'd be very, very early stage. In my case, I suffered carpal tunnel syndrome 9 years before my diagnosis, and I think back often that if they had been aware of this connection back then and they had tested me, I was younger, I was very healthy, I probably would have qualified for a stem cell transplant. And with the stem cell transplant, they sometimes call it one and done. If it succeeds, you have the possibility of up to 20 years of symptom-free existence, which would have made a world of difference in my life. Instead, I progressed and I went through a fairly slow decline. And then for about a year, I was in such bad shape that my cardiologist even admitted recently to me that when he first met me, he thought I had no way out. And that could all have been avoided with early detection of amyloids through carpal tunnel testing. My second-hand surgeon that I ran into her actually at my cardiologist's building the other day. I told her I had amyloidosis and her face just dropped. And she said, "You're not going to believe it." She said, "I'm here today because I'm putting together a symposium of local doctors in various practice areas to talk about amyloidosis." And she said, "I've started to test during carpal tunnel release surgery, testing tissue for amyloids." And she said, "I'm seeing so many patients now with amyloidosis." And I just laughed. I said, "Well, you've been seeing patients with amyloidosis for decades, but you just didn't know it because you weren't testing for it." And she said, "You're right." She said, and that's what we're doing here with the symposium. We're trying to really make local doctors in various practice areas aware of this disease and to promote early testing. And by doing that, they're saving lives.